of the training. In this section, we'll be discussing the terminology that we use to describe a signal condition. Throughout the remainder of our training, we'll be using some terminologies that you must become familiar with in order to understand the way that we describe signals. To understand the methodology, you must understand the terminology: highs, lows, higher highs, lower highs, and higher lows, along with double bottoms and double tops and their variations, the technical double bottom and technical double top. Here in this chart of the S&P, we find a typical example of how the market constantly makes its highs and lows as it moves up and down throughout the day. The market never moves in a straight line. It's always making these highs and lows, even when it's trending. An important part of our method has to do with the highs and lows of price, the DS, and the MACD, and their relationship. That relationship that exists of a high or low to its previous high or low. Here on the chart, the yellow arrow shows the first high that we can see. Since we can't scroll back to see what its relationship is to its previous high, we will just call that high a high. The same for this low. The first low that we see is just called a low because we can't tell its relationship to its previous low. But here we get another high shown with the arrow, and it does have a relationship to its previous high, and it is lower, so we will call this high a lower high. Now we get a second low in price, and it is exactly equal to the previous low, so we will call this low a double bottom. If price at this low had come a little shy of the first low, but not more than a half a point, we would call it a technical double bottom. But it could not be any more than a half point higher than the previous low in order to be considered a technical double bottom. The same rule would apply for technical double tops. Here's a higher high, the relationship of this high to its previous high. A higher low. A higher high. A lower low. A lower high. And here's an example of a technical double bottom that we mentioned earlier. This low is within a half a point of the previous low in price, and we call this condition a technical double bottom. Here's a double top. A higher low, a higher high, a higher low, a higher high. By now you should see how we describe these highs and these lows that are constantly forming. Finally, here's a lower low. Now the same holds true for the relationship of the highs and lows of DS and the MACD. Here's a higher low on the DS. And with the higher low on the MACD here, and because we already identified a technical double bottom in price, we have a buy signal here. Here we have a lower high on the DS and here on the MACD, combined with the higher high in price that we earlier identified, we get a sell signal. And that's how we describe buy and sell signals, in these terms. We can identify if signals do or do not exist by using these terminologies. So practice going over these on your charts and understand these relationships. The sooner you get a thorough understanding of this, the sooner you'll be able to understand exactly what a buy and sell signal are. This concludes Section 4 of our training. If any part of this section was not totally clear, then we suggest that you review the section again. And if any questions still remain, please write them down and we'll go over those questions in the online portion of your training. If you thoroughly understood this section, then you can proceed to Section 5.